Now, the unrest and upheaval in Nepal by Gen Z protesters have toppled the government in less than 48 hours, but at a devastating cost. About 72 people ended up losing their lives, and the economic damage is simply staggering. Take a look at this report.
Nepal's recent protests are the deadliest in decades. The unrest has left the country reeling, with at least 300 local government offices damaged and key landmarks, including luxury hotels like the recently opened Hilton, vandalized and looted. The economic toll is staggering. Estimated at nearly 3 trillion Nepalese rupees, that's over $21 billion, almost half of Nepal's entire annual GDP.
Major cities have been badly affected by this urban insurgency. So by and large, this has got an immediate effect. The billions of rupees properties have been destroyed. And the second factor is the long-term effect on Nepalese economy.
But what makes Nepal's economy so vulnerable? It heavily depends on money sent home by workers abroad, remittances that make up nearly a third of its GDP. Nepal is one of the world's poorest countries, with a per capita GDP of about $1,500. Over 8% of its population works overseas. Sending back about $12.6 billion in remittances last year saw $12.6 billion. That's nearly 30% of the country's GDP. With over 10% unemployment at home and nearly 840,000 Nepalis seeking jobs abroad last year, the country's dependence on these funds is a double-edged sword. It keeps families afloat but does little to fuel long-term economic growth.
Nepal is largely relying on the investment coming from the outside, and I'm sure this is also going to be impacted, because investors need security, political security and economic security. The way things are developing in the country, I don't think the investors will be quite sure about it.
The protest started after a controversial ban on 26 social media platforms, but deeper frustrations have been simmering for years. Social media is a vital connection for many Nepalis, especially youth and migrant families. The sudden ban was seen as an attempt to silence critics, especially amid rising anger over Nepo babies, the privileged children of political elites. Protesters had two main demands: lifting the social media ban and ending widespread corruption. By the end of the week, the social media ban was lifted, and former Supreme Court Chief Justice Sushila Karki was named interim Prime Minister, a move backed by protesters. But the fallout continues, with thousands now out of work and economic losses mounting. The protests have cost over 10,000 jobs, with hotels, retail chains and the automobile sector hit hard. Insurance companies face unprecedented claims. Nepal's fragile democracy, with 14 governments in 17 years, faces yet another test.
The last week's protests left a trail of destructions. From tourism to job opportunities now look more grim. Over 10,000 jobs have been impacted. For young Nepalese, who account for nearly 20% of the population, the daily life had become a cycle of unemployment and favoritism. Nepal remains one of Asia's poorest countries. Nearly a third of Nepal's GDP comes from personal remittances, highlighting the scale of migration as young Nepalese seek job opportunities abroad. In the coming days, there are chances that the leaderships of the established political parties will be compelled to give way to the new leadership. And meanwhile, the interim government has to protect the Nepal's institution, but also lay ground for the election that is scheduled for March 2026. I'm Saloni Murarka reporting from Kathmandu, Nepal for WION.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.